I never thought I'd find myself in a situation where a simple social media post would turn my entire family dynamic upside down. But here we are. Let me take you back to where it all started. I'm a 24-year-old guy who, until recently, was living with my parents to save money while finishing college. It wasn't ideal, but with my scholarship covering most expenses and a part-time job helping with the rest, I managed to graduate debt-free. That's probably the only silver lining in this whole mess. The real problem began with my older brother, who lives nearby with his wife and their 4-year-old triplet daughters. Yes, triplets. And somehow, I became their default unpaid nanny. It started innocently enough, helping out here and there while I was still living at home. But after graduation, even though I landed a decent job at the tech company where I'd interned, my family still acted like I had endless free time. The breaking point came during our annual mountain resort vacation last summer. The entire week was a disaster. I couldn't do anything I wanted, because I was constantly watching the girls. The one time I suggested visiting a local photography museum, everyone acted like I was being selfish. The girls won't enjoy that, they said. Meanwhile, we spent every day doing kid-friendly activities, and I was expected to help manage 3 toddlers who, let's be honest, barely listened to their uncle babysitter. After that nightmare, I finally moved out to my own place, cutting my work commute from an hour to 20 minutes. My brother and his wife weren't thrilled. There went their free weekend babysitter. Still, they managed to guilt me into watching the girls occasionally, usually with the promise of takeout as payment. Last month, my parents announced plans for this year's mountain vacation. Same resort, same arrangements. That's when I put my foot down. I told them I'd drive myself and book my own room. You'd think I'd announced I was moving to Mars. But think of the cost, my parents protested. I have a good job now. I can afford it, I replied. That's when the guilt tripping began. My brother's wife called me, practically in tears, saying I was ruining their vacation. How am I supposed to handle 3 kids by myself, she demanded. The same way other parents do, by actually parenting their children, I snapped back. Not my proudest moment, but I was fed up. I ended up posting about the situation online, asking if I was being unreasonable. My brother's wife, who apparently spends her mornings browsing the same website, found my post within an hour. She completely lost it when she saw hundreds of comments supporting me and criticizing her entitled behavior. She immediately called our parents, who then called me at work. But something unexpected happened. When my parents read through the comments themselves, they started to see things differently. For the first time, they were forced to consider how unfair they'd been to me. During my lunch break that day, my brother's wife called again. She was furious that our parents were suddenly taking my side. In her anger, she said something that finally exposed her true colors. You're young and single with no life anyway. You should be helping family. I recorded that conversation. Yes, petty, I know, but years of dealing with her manipulation had taught me to keep receipts. When I played that recording for our parents, they were shocked. Then came another revelation. My brother, who'd mostly stayed out of this mess, discovered his wife had been lying to him. All those times she claimed she was paying me for babysitting after I moved out, she'd only been giving me enough money to order pizza for me and the kids. She'd been pocketing the rest of the money he'd given her for childcare. My brother hit the roof. He made her pay me everything she owed from her personal savings. Watching her write that check was satisfying, I won't lie. But more importantly, he finally stepped up and apologized for letting his wife treat me like their personal servant. We had a big family meeting at my parents' house. Everyone apologized, though some apologies seemed more genuine than others. The vacation was back on, but with clear boundaries this time. I would drive myself, stay in my own room, and not be responsible for any childcare. You'd think that would be the end of it, right? Wrong. My brother's wife couldn't handle the negative comments on my post. She started calling me daily, crying and demanding I take it down. When I refused, she ran to our parents again, but this time they didn't jump to her defense. Instead, they told her to handle it herself. You mean I have to be nice to my little brother? She practically screeched over the phone. Should I Google how to do that? I couldn't help but laugh at her dramatics. Yeah, maybe start with how to treat family members like actual people and work your way up from there. My brother called later that evening. He was upset that I'd made his wife cry, but after I explained everything again, he understood. He promised to have another talk with her about her behavior. Meanwhile, I went ahead and booked my room for the vacation, on a different floor from my family, just to be safe. I was determined to actually enjoy myself this time, planning to visit photography exhibits, try local restaurants, and generally have the vacation I'd missed out on last year. But my brother's wife had other plans. The vacation finally arrived, and I played it smart. I left an hour earlier than everyone else, knowing they'd never get 3 kids ready before 10 a.m. They were upset about missing some planned family brunch, but I hadn't been told about it, so that wasn't my problem. At the hotel, I made sure to warn the front desk not to give out my room information to anyone, even family. Good thing I did, because later I found out both my parents and brother's wife had tried to find out where I was staying. The desk clerk held firm, though, and my brother had to shut down his wife's attempts to pressure them. Throughout the vacation, my brother's wife kept trying to rope me into watching the girls. Just for a minute, she'd say, but I knew better. That minute would turn into hours. When I called her out, she burst into tears right there in public, crying about needing a break. My brother shut that down quick, pointing out that he was tired too but wasn't complaining. My mom tried giving me the guilt trip look, but I stood my ground. If you're thinking I should watch those kids, I'll walk away from this vacation right now, I told her. She started crying too, another manipulation tactic I'd grown immune to. I kept my distance by taking different elevators, waiting 15 minutes after they'd gone up to their rooms, and staying on my separate floor. Yes, it was excessive, but it worked, until my brother's wife decided to stake out the entire floor looking for my room. She caught me leaving one evening and tried to corner me, complaining that I'd ruined her vacation because now she actually had to parent her own kids. I lost it, told her to grow up and stop using me as her scapegoat. She followed me to the elevator, yelling, but I ignored her and reported the incident to everyone at dinner. She got scolded like a child, had another pity party, and I just walked out. The rest of the vacation went smoother after that. I still played with my nieces occasionally. I'm not heartless, and they're good kids. I bought them each little souvenir crystal collections, played beach games with them, and was the fun uncle instead of the forced babysitter. But the drama wasn't quite over. After we got home, my brother's wife found my latest online post about the vacation and completely lost it again. She and my mom showed up at my door, demanding I delete everything. I refused and told them this was the consequence of their actions. Finally, my parents gave her an ultimatum: get counseling or accept that things would never go back to how they were. My brother backed this up, telling her it was therapy or separation. That was the wake-up call she needed. During a heart-to-heart over beers, my brother told me something interesting. Apparently, his wife had always resented having a younger sibling. We're 10 years apart, and she'd been an only child for so long that she never really accepted sharing her parents' attention. The counseling is helping her work through that now. There's a silver lining to all this chaos, though. A girl I'd been interested in at work recognized herself in one of my posts. I'd mentioned wanting to ask someone out. She waited for me to make a move, and now we're dating. Sometimes it takes a complete meltdown of family dynamics to force positive change. My relationship with my nieces is actually better now that it's on my terms. My parents have stopped enabling bad behavior. My brother and his wife are working on their issues. And me? I finally have control over my own life, plus a girlfriend who admires how I handled it all. Looking back, that impulsive decision to share my story online might have been the best thing I ever did for our family, even if it took a lot of tears, drama, and emotional blackmail to get here. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please hit that subscribe button to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family who might enjoy it too. Your support means a lot. And if you have any thoughts, questions, or story ideas, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next story.